In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day by Mark Batterson. A terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Right at the outset, let me share one of my core convictions. God is in the business of strategically positioning us in the right place at the right time. A sense of destiny is our birthright as followers of Christ. God is awfully good at getting us where He wants us to go. But here's the catch. The right place often seems like the wrong place, and the right time often seems like the wrong time. Can I understate the obvious? Encountering a lion in the wild is typically a bad thing, a really bad thing. Finding yourself in a pit with a lion on a snowy day generally qualifies as a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That combination of circumstances usually spells one thing: death. I don't think anyone would have bet on Benaya winning this fight, probably not even the riskiest of gamblers. He had to be at least 100, 100 to 1 underdog. And the snowy conditions on game day didn't help his chances. Scripture doesn't give us a blow-to-blow description of what happened in that pit. All we know is that when the snow settled, the lion was dead and Benaiah was alive. There was one set of paw prints and two sets of footprints. Now fast forward 2 verses and look at what happens in this next scene. 2 Samuel 22 verse 22 says, "And David put Benaiah in charge of his bodyguard." I can't think of too many places I'd rather not be than in a pit with a lion on a snowy day. Can you? Getting stuck in a pit with a lion on a snowy day isn't on anybody's wish list. It's a dead wish. But you've got to admit something. I killed a lion in a pit on a snowy day looks pretty impressive on your resume if you're applying for a bodyguard position with the king of Israel. You know what I'm saying? I can picture David flipping through a stack of resumes. I majored in security at the University of Jerusalem. Nope. I did an internship with the Palace Guard. Nada. I worked for Briggs Armor Chariots. Thanks but no thanks. Then David comes to the next resume in the stack. I killed a lion in a pit on a snowy day. David didn't even check his references. That is the kind of person you want in charge of your bodyguard. Lion chasers make great bouncers. Now zoom and look at the story through a wide-angled lens. Most people would have seen the lion as a 500-pound problem, but not Benaiah. For most people, finding yourself in the pit with a lion on a snowy day would qualify as bad luck. But you can see how God turned what could have been considered as a bad break into a big break. Benaiah lands a job interview with the king of Israel. I'm sure that bodyguard position was the last thing on his mind when he encountered the lion, but Benaiah wasn't just chasing a lion. Benaiah was chasing a position in David's administration. Here's the point. God is in the resumes building business. He is always using past experiences to prepare us for future opportunities. But those God given opportunities often come disguised as man eating lions. And how we react when we encounter those lions will determine our destiny. We can cower in fear and run away from our greatest challenges, or we can chase our God ordained destinies by seizing the God ordained opportunity. As I look back on my life, I recognize this simple truth. The greatest opportunities were the scariest lions. Part of me has wanted to play it safe, but I've learned that taking no risk is the greatest risk of all. Giving up a full ride scholarship at the University of Chicago to transfer to a small Bible college was a huge risk. Asking my wife, Laura, to marry me was a huge risk. Of course, not a big, not as big as not a not as big a risk as Laura saying yes. Packing all of our earthly belongings into a 15-foot U-Haul and moving to Washington, D.C. with no place to live and no guaranteed salary was a huge risk. Each of our 3 children was a huge risk. Jumping into a church plant with zero pastoral experience was a huge risk, both for me and for the church. But when I look in the rearview mirror, I realize that the biggest risks were the greatest opportunities. Some of those life-altering decisions cost sleepless nights. The steps of faith were accompanied by acute fear that caused nausea. We experienced some financial hardships that required miraculous provisions, and we had to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves after falling flat on our faces a few times. But those were the moments that I came alive. Those were the moments when God set the stage. Those were the moments that changed the trajectory of my life.